Meet Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea is an angry bird. I'd put him in his cage. He spends most of the time out around the house. But I'd put him in the cage for while I had a shower because I was cooking a pot roast and I didn't want to risk, even though it was a low risk, I didn't want him discovering the hot plate beneath the pot and hurting himself. So I'd put him in his cage for his own protection. And while Sweet Pea was stomping around his cage, having some very big feelings about what things look like in the natural, little did he realise, but his cage door was not latched properly. You can see it hanging open there. And when he finally calmed down, he realised that he could push his door open, and he did actually escape. Now I realised that God was speaking to me through this. How many of you are feeling stuck? How many of you are in a situation of God's making to keep you safe, to protect you? And how many of you don't realise that God is cooking something up while you're in that safe space? And all you want to do is break free. All you want to do is to get out of there and experience the freedom that God has for you. This was me for the last month. I had been tantruming. I'd been very much focused on what things look like in the natural. I was coming into partnership. I was coming into agreement with things of the world, with psychology teachings, and I was failing to take a step back and just be prayerful about my situation. So this morning, before Sweet Pea's tantrum, before I even got out of bed, I felt like God was saying, it's time for me to come out of agreement with the enemy. It's time to come out of agreement, stop partnering with how things look in the natural, stop coming into agreement with science, with psychology, and recognize that God is in the mix, that God is an interventionist God, that He does see our situation and that He is indeed in our situation. I feel that for me, my escape route out of those big feelings and out of what the enemy is saying, out of what it looks like in the natural, is prayer. And so I've set aside some time today for some really serious prayer with God. And during that prayer time, I'm going to reject those lies of the enemy. I'm going to acknowledge that, yes, there are some experiences that I've had, but I don't need to come into agreement with the consequences of those experiences. God is saying it's time to move on. And just as Sweet Pea, once he finally stopped his tantrum and returned to his perch right in front of his gate, he realised that his gate was barely latched and that he was able to get through that gate and experience complete freedom. Holy Father, I thank you that you've made a way for us, that when we stop looking at things in the natural, when we stop partnering with evil and remind ourselves of your goodness, that perfect love casts out all fear, and that you always have a way of escape for us. And we come to you for our blueprint, we come for you, we lay everything down at your feet, and we say, yes, please, we're ready to follow you to freedom. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.